Ikigai is the Japanese way of looking at life in a certain way. Well, it can loosely be translated into a lot of things, but the most prevalent translation that's actually relevant is this. And Ikigai is something that puts you in a flow state and can be used to improve yourself and improve the life of others as well. This is what I got from the definitions given in this book. Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. This book was created by Hector Gracia and Francesc Miralles, and let's see what they have to say on this Ikigai. Let's go. Alrighty, now let's get to it. The first thing the book talks about is longevity and how Ikigai comes in increasing your lifespan. Okay, so imagine a hare that's basically your lifespan. You're chasing the hare. The hare doesn't run, it just stands there. You go ahead and catch it. What happens to you? Your lifespan is met and your life is done. What happens if the hare runs at the same speed as you do? You become immortal. That's actually a really good thing, right? You don't essentially become immortal when you keep chasing behind the rabbit or the hare. You come close to immortality, something like a century or something like that. So, what's the hare? The hare's your lifespan. And what can the lifespan increase? How can you increase the speed at which your hare runs? By finding a purpose so that your mind runs faster or slower towards that lifespan. You need a purpose to live. That's what they're saying. And if your life has meaning, your brain will find the courage to live for long periods of time. Now, we move on to the secrets of the Okinawians. Most specifically, Okinawians who are situated in the small town of Oigi. If you didn't know, Okinawa is a Japanese state. Okay, yeah, the people of Oigi, they have a lot of things in common, and one of those things is their extended lifespan. When compared to a normal person, they live for a very, very, very long time. For example, a lot of people here seem to cross a century, like a literal century, 100 years straight out. And the habits that they have in common are as follows. They remain active. They always keep walking around. Whatever they do, they keep themselves busy. They do not retire. And they hang out with their friends. They celebrate their birthday parties. They still drink for a very small amount of drink or something like that. The drink is mostly red wine, and they eat food with antioxidant properties, which includes citrus fruits like lemons, shikuzawa mainly. It's mentioned a lot of times in the book. I assume that that's the case. And another thing that they actually do, and it's common between all of them, they actually have a reason to live. They work after they're 100. It's like they still continue doing their careers after they're 100. They only eat up to 80% of their food storage capacity, and they make sure that the 80% has enough nutrients so that the other 20% doesn't come haunting them in their dreams. Why do they do this? It's so that the quantity of food is lesser. If the quantity of food is lesser, your stomach has to do a lot less amount of work. And when your stomach does a lot less amount of work, it needs to absorb more nutrients. So obviously there must be more nutrients for your stomach to absorb. That's the reason that these people choose to have this diet. A lot of people here, they wake up early in the morning as well. They exercise early in the morning. Everything they do it in moderation, but they keep themselves busy. They do not live the life of a Discord moderator, nor do they live the life of a Giga Chad who goes to the gym every single day. But they do live a life that's somewhere in the middle. Got it? The other thing that they talk about is quality sleep. In this book, the chapter anti-aging stuff, They talk about getting 10 hours of sleep. When models were interviewed for their glamorous skin, the only thing they talked about is basically sleeping for a longer time before the day that they had the photo shoot where they had the glamorous skin. I hope that that was very clear. The other things in this book are basically the ideologies of flow and wabi sabi. We'll go over flow first and then I'll cover wabi sabi. Let's start with what is flow. Flow is a state of immersion where your concentration is so good that you're focused on nothing else but the task at hand. What is that task at hand, you ask? Something that is related to your Ikigai. A painter would have a sense of flow and would find themselves flowing when they put their brush on the canvas. Their flow state makes them create masterpieces. When they're in complete concentration of the current task at their hand, they come to create masterpieces. Other examples of flow in our daily life, micro flow states. The things that they include may be walking in different patterns so that your mind is immersed in the current task. If your mind doesn't have much cognition to do, it won't do much cognition and it will think of something else. So you have to complexify the simple tasks just a little bit up so that your mind will concentrate more on it. When you talk, you can apply it as well. In every small activity, you can find microflow if you add a certain level of complexity to it. You need to be very immersed in the task. That's it. If you want to experience the flow state for yourself, you need to keep down any distractions that may bring you out of your flow state once you're in it, and you need to cut them out. For example, when you're drawing, your phone buzzes, you're out of the flow state. Boom. That's a sad thing, right? So to keep your flow, you need to avoid distractions. And another thing to get to the flow state is to do something that you actually love, which is basically doing your Ikigai. And Ikigai is something like a passion. It's something you are passionate about. And when you do it, your mind gives you a source of endless energy and you keep doing it. And once you realize it, it's more than 4 hours that you've been drawing for, or more than 4 hours you've been designing for more than 4 hours you have been coding. These are things that are truly fascinating, and these are things that can be only achieved with the flow state. When you're immersed in your current activity, you don't have to look at the clock to tell you the time. You don't have to think about time itself. Your brain is supercharged on finishing that one task. That is the flow state for you. And the next topic is that of wabi-sabi, or resilience, or anti-fragility. Resilience and anti-fragility are very different. The idea of wabi-sabi is the idea of anti-fragility. But let's look at resilience for the sake of it being there. What's resilience? Resilience is the idea of getting back to normal after a catastrophe. For example, your city is burning and everything is in total disaster or chaos. You can get it back to normal with resilience. And with wabi-sabi or anti-fragility, you build an utopian city on top of the city that was basically shitty and mid. That is anti-fragility. I think you've got the concept. Anti-fragility is growing stronger every time you're being struck down. Anti-fragility can be created in yourself by following these steps. By being stoic and remembering that everything is impermanent while enjoying them. Imagine that everybody around you is gone. What's the worst possible scenario that can happen? Stoicism teaches you to remember it, and it helps you reduce the grief of certain things when they actually happen. That is why Stoicism exists. It's showing your emotions in moderation and always knowing that the pleasures you enjoy today will be impermanent and will not carry over to tomorrow. They may not carry over to tomorrow. And another thing to do to improve your anti-fragility is to stop hanging out with toxic people who make you fragile, who talk to you in certain ways that make you fragile. If you avoid them, you develop a sense of anti-fragility on your own. Yeah, that was it. Thanks for watching the video. I had a lot more things to share from this book. I mean, there are 200 pages. I can't cover all of them in one sitting. My brain would definitely hurt, and your brain would hurt after processing the information as well. Yeah, that's it. Brofist.